Would you trust your home, your children, and your marriage to your childhood best friend? Ji-woo did, and that was the biggest mistake of her life. This story isn't just about betrayal. It's about how envy can hide behind a smile, and how even the oldest friendship can turn into a knife in your back. But before we begin, you're watching, you're already hooked, but you haven't liked, commented, or subscribed to the channel yet. Seriously? Then hit that subscribe button right now, because this story will leave you breathless, and I bet you'll have a lot to say in the comments. Min-ji always believed she had a perfect life. Married to Min-jae for 8 years, mother of 2 children who were her entire world, and with a solid career as head nurse at one of Seoul's biggest hospitals. She took pride in the family she had built. The smiling pictures, the family lunches, the Sundays in the park. Everything looked like it came out of a butter commercial. But what Min-ji didn't know was that behind what seemed like a stable home, there was a facade built on lies and hidden desire. The downfall of her life wouldn't come from a stranger. It wouldn't be caused by someone unknown or a random affair. No, her destruction would come at the hands of someone she called a sister, her childhood best friend, Eun-bio. They had known each other since they were 4. They grew up together, played on the same streets, went to the same school, shared diaries, secrets, and dreams. Eun-bio was there for all of Min-ji's major life moments, her wedding, the birth of her children, birthdays, celebrations. She was practically family. So much so that Min-ji never doubted her intentions. What she didn't see was that behind the warm smile hid a growing envy. Eun-bio had never been lucky in love. Failed relationships, a history of betrayals and abandonment, and an emotionally unstable life. She always said she was fine being alone, but every time she saw Min-ji with her family, something ate away at her inside. That's when it began, first with small gestures. Eun-bio always offered to help. Picking up the kids from school, bringing food when Min-ji was tired, offering her a little rest while she stayed with Min-jae and the kids. At first, Min-ji felt lucky to have such a dedicated friend. But little by little, her presence stopped being supportive and became something almost invasive. The first time Min-ji suspected something was off was due to an almost insignificant detail. Perfume. On an ordinary night, she came home from work and noticed a familiar scent in the bedroom. But it wasn't hers. It was Eun-bio's. A strong, sweet, unmistakable smell. She thought it was strange, but dismissed it quickly. Maybe Eun-bio had stopped by. Maybe she had hugged Min-jae. Maybe. But that maybe kept echoing in her mind. And the signs started to pile up. Eun-bio was always around when Min-jae was alone. She was the one who brought medicine when he was sick. She was the one who coincidentally dropped by when Min-ji was running late at work. And increasingly, she seemed to be slipping into the family's routine as if it were her own. The final blow came cruelly. On a rainy night, Min-ji forgot her phone at home and returned early. When she entered the bedroom, she saw the phone unlocked on the bed with a notification open. It was a message from Eun-bio to Min-jae. It read, "Last night was perfect. You made me feel alive again." His reply was right below. "You know it's just between us." She can't know. Not yet. The ground vanished beneath her. Min-ji felt her body tremble. Her hands turned sweaty. Her heart pounded in her ears. She read it again. Once, twice, 3 times. There was no other way to interpret it. They were together. She had been betrayed by the friend she trusted most, and by the man she had vowed to build a life with. In the days that followed, Min-ji tried to keep up the routine, try to understand where she went wrong, what signs she missed, how someone she loved so deeply could turn into a traitor. She confronted them both. Min-jae, cold, said she was imagining things. Eun-bio cried, played the victim, and said she would never do such a thing. "You're my uni," I love you, she sobbed with fake tears in her eyes. But Minji knew. She felt it deep in her chest. This wasn't her imagination. There was something much more serious going on. And just when she thought things couldn't get worse, someone showed up. A man rang her doorbell. It was Taehyun, Eun Bio's ex-boyfriend. He held an envelope and had the tired eyes of someone who had already been through the same hell. I know what she did to you, because she did the same to me, he said. Suspicious, but desperate for answers, Minji let him in. Taehyun told her that years ago, he too had been manipulated by Eun Bio. She entered his life sweetly, acting helpful and caring. But behind every gesture was selfish intent. He lost his job, his friends, his stability, all because he trusted her. Then Taehyun showed proof. Photos, screenshots, voice recordings. Messages exchanged between Min-jae and Eun Bio. Dates, meetings, locations. Even images of the two together at a motel, with Min-jae's children playing in the lobby, watched by a nanny hired by Eun Bio. What began as a fling turned into a personal scandal. The pain turned into rage. The sadness became strength. Min-jae realized she had become a supporting character in her own life, and she decided that had to end. But how do you fight someone already prepared to take your place? And more than that, how do you erase the love for someone who destroyed you with a kiss? This was only the beginning.
E aí, o que você faria no
So
lugar
what you would
dela?
do in her place.
Comenta aqui embaixo.
Comment here below.
E não esquece de se
And don't
inscrever no
forget to sign
canal,
up for the
porque
channel,
o próximo
because
episódio
the
vai
next
trazer a
episode will
primeira
bring the
grande
first
reviravolta.
big twist.
Jiwoo vai virar o jogo e o plano de
Ji-woo will turn the
vingança
tables
começa
and the
agora.
revenge plan starts now. After days of silently suffocating in pain, Ji-woo was no longer the woman destroyed by infidelity. She was someone else now. The love had died, and in its place grew a new force, cold and silent. She stopped crying and started planning. It was no longer about saving the marriage. It was about saving her dignity and teaching them that no one steals her life without consequences. The first step was to pull away, but not out of cowardice, out of strategy. Ji-woo pretended not to know a thing. She smiled again at home, cooked dinner, acted like nothing had changed. Min-jae, relieved, thought he was safe. Eun Bio, feeling more confident, started to infiltrate even deeper. She would say things like, "Friend, you deserve the rest. Let me take care of him." Ji-woo pretended to be grateful. But what they didn't know was that Ji-woo had already hired a private investigator. Everything was documented. Every meeting, every conversation, every money transfer between Min-jae and Eun Bio. She wanted proof, not for blackmail, but to destroy them with elegance and intelligence. Meanwhile, Taehyun became a loyal ally. The two grew closer, but not romantically. It was a bond forged in pain and healing. And he had a reason, too, to expose Eun Bio. Her past had more than just betrayals. There were hushed-up lawsuits, debts, even involvement in petty scams. Everything documented, ready to be used at the right moment. Ji-woo's plan began with a subtle move. She planned a special dinner with Min-jae and invited Eun Bio. She pretended to want to rebuild their bond, saying she was grateful for her friend's support. During the dinner, she toasted a friendship, and discreetly, she placed a recorder under the table. What she heard that night confirmed what she already knew. But Eun Bio's mocking tone hurt more than any betrayal. "Do you really think she'll never find out?" Min-jae said between sips of wine. "She's stupid, Jae. Always has been, living in that perfect little world of hers. But this family, it's more mine than hers now. Even the kids like me more." Ji-woo saved the audio. And that was the last night she cried inside. The next day, she acted. She got up early, organized everything, separated documents, signed papers, blocked cards, transferred the house and assets into a trust to protect the children. And after that, she vanished, Literally. For 3 days, she turned off her phone, checked into a hotel, and watched everything from afar. When Min Jae realized she had disappeared with the kids, he panicked. He tried calling, checked her work, called friends. Nothing. Eun Bio then showed up at his house, pretending to be supportive. She stayed over, took Ji-woo's place completely. But when Ji-woo returned, she didn't come alone. She came with lawyers, documents, recordings, pictures, testimonies, and the coldness of someone who no longer wanted conversation. You destroyed the woman who loved you, Min Jae. Now I'll show everyone who you really are. And you, Eun Bio, congratulations. You managed to take what I had, but get ready to lose everything you are. In less than a week, both of their worlds collapsed. Min Jae was suspended from his job due to internal scandals and harassment allegations made by a former employee who had been encouraged by Ji-woo to come forward. Eun Bio lost several brand deals she had as a regional influencer after videos and screenshots of her betrayals went viral online. Ji-woo sent everything to the right places at the perfect moment, but her revenge wasn't complete. Ji-woo needed them to taste their own poison. So, she did the unexpected. She arranged a reconciliation dinner. She invited both of them and said she wanted to bring closure peacefully for the sake of the children. They accepted, wary but curious. They showed up dressed nicely, armed with fake smiles. And in the middle of dinner, Ji-woo handed each of them an envelope. Inside each envelope were copies of messages, recordings, conversations, but not just that. There was also a handwritten letter. You betrayed me. You belittled me. You erased me. But today, I'm no longer that woman. I'm the storm you created. That same night, the video of the scandal was posted on a local forum. It went viral, and nothing was ever the same again. But what Ji-woo didn't count on was that Eun Bio still had one last card to play, one that could change everything again. And that card was alive, and it moved. Ji-woo thought the worst was over. She thought bringing them down was enough. But she didn't know that Eun Bio was more poisonous than she seemed, and had saved something precious for the perfect moment. For days after Eun Bio's public downfall, she vanished from social media. Silence. No answers. Ji-woo believed she had backed off. She was wrong. On a rainy Wednesday morning, Ji-woo found an envelope slipped under her door. No sender. Inside were photos. Photos of her husband, Min Jae, with another woman years ago. But the woman wasn't Eun Bio. It was herself. Ji-woo. Only something was different. Among the photos, one stood out. Ji-woo at a clinic, pregnant. But not at the time of her current children. She felt the ground disappear beneath her. She immediately called Taehyun. He met her at home, shaking. It wasn't just the photos. It was the note that came with them. You took everything from me. So now, let's see who can live with the truth. Yes, Eun Bio had uncovered a secret that no one, except Ji-woo and a now-retired doctor, knew. Years before her marriage, Ji-woo had gotten pregnant and was forced to give the baby away. It wasn't a choice. She was young, alone, and her family made her hide everything. She never told Min Jae, never told anyone. And now, Eun Bio not only knew she had Ji-woo's daughter. Ji-woo went to the old hospital, checked the records, but there was nothing about adoption, only a name, Sua, a girl now 13 years old. And according to Eun Bio's final message, she was living with her. Ji-woo's world started to spin. Eun Bio didn't want a husband anymore. She wanted Ji-woo's soul, and she was raising her daughter as revenge. In the middle of this chaos, Min Jae showed up again, tried to apologize, said he was manipulated, that he regretted everything, that he wanted to see the kids. Ji-woo looked at him with disgust. But Deep down, she knew he could be useful. After all, no one was better positioned to help track Eunbile down. Together, for the first time, but not for love, Ji-woo and Min-jae followed leads. They found out that Eunbile had moved to another city, changed Sua's documents, and was telling the girl she was her biological aunt. Devastated, Ji-woo went after her. In a small rural school, she saw the girl from a distance, and her heart nearly stopped. It was her. The same eyes, the same hair. She wanted to run, to hug her, to tell her everything. But she froze and remembered the letter. You took everything from me. Now I'll raise your daughter to be better than you. It was a fatal blow. Back in the capital, Ji-woo began preparing a legal case to win custody. It was hard, with no paperwork, years of secrecy. Everything was against her. She would need witnesses' evidence and the courage to face it all. That's when Taehyun, Eunbile's ex, came forward with something revealing. Screenshot the conversations between Eunbile and a friend where she confessed to manipulating the girl's case. She never adopted her legally. She used forged documents, claimed to be a direct relative, and took Sua, saying her mother had died. It was the peace Ji-woo needed. But Eunbile wasn't going down without a fight. Before Ji-woo could take any action, Eunbile showed up at her door, with Sua beside her, smiling, polite. Hi, Ji-woo. I came to introduce your little sister. Say hi, Sua. The girl smiled, innocently. Ji-woo froze. Eunbile leaned in and whispered, You really want to tell her who the mother that abandoned her is? Let's see who she chooses in the end. The war had officially begun. If you found out that your daughter was raised by your worst enemy, what would you do? Comment below, because the story is far from over. Ji-woo stayed up all night. The image of her daughter smiling at her enemy stabbed her mind like a knife. No matter how much time had passed, the feeling was real. That girl was her flesh and blood. And now, her life was at stake. With Taehyun's help, Ji-woo gathered evidence. Screenshots of Eunbile confessing to forging the guardianship, her attempts to hide the girl's true identity, and most importantly, the clinic documents proving the birth. The case was opened, but the news spread quickly. The media was harsh. Biological mother tries to reclaim daughter given up for adoption years ago. The story was told superficially, and Eunbile, a master manipulator on social media, played the martyr. She cried on camera, said the girl was all she had, claimed she was being hunted down by someone who didn't want to be a mother at the time and now, out of revenge, was trying to ruin the child's life. Public opinion was divided, but Ji-woo didn't back down. She went to court, face to face with the woman who had destroyed her marriage and was now trying to destroy her motherhood. At the trial, Ji-woo explained everything. She told how her family pressured her, how she never knew where her daughter had been taken, and how she had only found out the truth now, through Eunbile's threats. On the other side, Eunbile used the girl as a shield. She brought her to court, showed videos of the girl calling her Aunt Mom, claimed that taking her away now would cause irreversible trauma. But the judge wasn't easily swayed by the act. He asked for time, said the child would be heard by a psychological team. In the meantime, neither side could have contact with Sua. She would stay with a temporary foster family while the truth was investigated. This decision shook Ji-woo, but it shook Eunbile even more. 2 days later, she snapped. She went to the school where the girl was staying and tried to take her by force. She was stopped, arrested. The news became a scandal. Police confirmed Eunbile had forged documents, lied during the custody process, and worse, was under investigation for other cases of psychological manipulation with former partners. The tide had turned. Ji-woo, though shaken, stood firm. The court scheduled a new hearing. This time, based on Sua's psychological evaluations. That's when the hardest moment came. The girl was interviewed. She said she always found it strange that none of Eunbile's relatives ever visited, and that she had recurring dreams about another woman, a face she now, after seeing Jiwoo, began to recognize. In a soft voice, she told the judge, "I don't understand everything, but I think she's my real mom. I feel it in my heart." Jiwoo couldn't hold back the tears, but she respected the court order not to approach her. The judge asked for more time, but the outcome was becoming clear. Eunbile, meanwhile, remained in custody for all her crimes, sentenced to 10 years in prison. For safety, Sua stayed a few more weeks with the foster family. But now, she received authorized visits from Jiwoo. Little by little, they began to get to know each other. Jiwoo brought pictures, told stories, showed her the bedroom she was preparing. The girl was smart, curious, and slowly she began to call Jiwoo Yama. But the ending wasn't here yet. In the final week before the court's decision, an anonymous letter was delivered to the judge. Along with it, a video recorded inside the hospital from that time, clearly showing the doctor being paid by a mysterious man to cover up the birth. That man was Min Jae's father. The shock was immediate. Did Min Jae know? Jiwoo confronted him. He broke down in tears. Said he had found out about the pregnancy back then, but his father forced everything to be hidden so it wouldn't tarnish the family's reputation. He never had the courage to confess. And now, seeing it all come to light, he was ashamed. Jiwoo was ready to give up, but it was Sua who, during a visit, held her hand and said, "I waited a long time to feel like I have a mom. Now that I found you, don't let go." That was all she needed. The day of the final, hearing dawned cloudy. Jiwoo arrived early, tightly holding the teddy bear she had kept since the day of the birth. Sua would be there. The judge was about to deliver a decision that would change their lives forever. But even before the hearing began, the courtroom door opened. Eunbile appeared, extremely thin, worn out, and wearing an ankle monitor. Surprising everyone, she asked to speak. The judge allowed it with caution. With a trembling voice, Eunbile confessed everything. She said that in the beginning, she only wanted to live the life of her rich and perfect friend. But then, she fell in love with the child. She formed a bond, made up lies, manipulated, hurt, but now, she couldn't bear to live that way anymore. She pulled an envelope from her pocket with a letter written to Sua. She asked that it only be given to the girl when she was older, and before leaving, she knelt before Jiwoo and said, "You won. Forgive me if you can." The judge remained silent for what felt like an eternity. Then he turned to Sua and asked, "Would you like to live with Jiwoo?" The girl looked at her biological mother, then at the judge, and answered, "I'm already living with her. I just need to be allowed to call her mom every day." The entire courtroom was in tears. Custody was granted. Jiwoo embraced her daughter as if time had stopped. But what no one expected was what came after. Weeks after the hearing, Jiwoo received a call from a lawyer. It was about her father's will, the same man who paid for the child's disappearance years ago. Before he died, he recorded a video admitting the whole truth and more. He left a multi-million-dollar compensation for Sua as an apology. Her name was officially listed in the will as a legitimate heir of the family. Their lives changed completely. Jiwoo decided to start over far away. She took her daughter and sons to another city. New school, new house, new life. On the first day of school, Sua and her brothers walked in smiling, as if pain had finally made room for hope. Jiwoo stood at the sidewalk, teary-eyed but with peace in her heart. Months later, already settled, she heard her daughter say, When I grow up, I want to tell stories about mothers who never gave up on their children. Then one day, Min Jae appeared, worn out, thin, with no light in his eyes. He knelt before her and confessed, voice choked with emotion. My life lost its meaning without you. I made mistakes, terrible mistakes. But I want a chance to show that I've learned. Every human being makes mistakes, Ji-woo, but we all deserve a chance to change, to make things right. She looked at him for a long moment, thought of her children, thought of everything she had lived. Then, in a silent gesture, she extended her hand. Forgiveness didn't erase the past, but it gave a new chance to the future. And this time, she got everything back. Her family, her peace, and most importantly, her daughter's love now by her side. Would you have that kind of courage? If this story kept you hooked until now, don't leave without commenting, liking, and subscribing to the channel. So many people get emotional watching and walk away without clicking the red button. Tell me what you thought of this ending, and if it were you in Ji-woo's place, would you forgive?